Empire of Legends. Bow down, kneel at my feet, for this era is reborn without knowing the bitter taste of defeat. Few still know and few still care of my grand ruling dynasty that met its lavish despair. No one remains in their dungeon of torturing, full now of sickly, smiling sycophants and richly kingdomless royalty. My legacy has been stolen, and my eyes have been maced. My feet have been cut, and my history erased. They knocked on my door, and they pleaded for glory. They kicked me from my tower, and they burned every story. Yet now they have the audacity, the want, the need to call for my rotting bones, and for forgiveness they plead. They don't want the effort, they don't want to rebuild, they just want to be at the top of the tower they killed. My crown has been shattered, and I've been stabbed with the shards. My blood stains the reflections of the gems in which my name is carved. Bow down, to my kingdom no longer sought. Bow down, to the legend long forgot. My name, it is knowledge, and soon you will see that my empire has fallen, now just an empty legacy. A euphonious melodic harmony that floats atop the breeze. The voices of tomorrow will resonate throughout their wind-worn trees. But the birds who so oft conduce to the song shall one day reach their end, the end of their throat's lovely hymn that is written by the defiant wrens. For truth, these voices shall cease and ascend their organized peace. But peace can only last atop the breeze, for as long as one can see. The melody will become silent, the birds shall fall, the wind may forget what it once carried. But I, indeed, and all those unwearied, indeed we shall remember it all. Alas, I beg thee, does not fret, for that time is yet to display that silent decree of the season. The birds keep singing and singing and singing, for today and today and today. Fate is the tides, the oceans that thrash. Our souls are the moon, your mind a steady match. Our hearts pump the rays that beam from the sun. Our blood the melodic warmth that songbirds have sung. Through every perilous victory, every battle we have won. The wind howls with our war cries, the hail pounds like our guns. For in this vastness of nature is woven our reality and our lives. And with this enlivened earth comes our eventual demise. Fatal Rains by Reagan Phelps. In the hindsight of glory, I recall that proud and admirable story of my fate in those fatal rains upon that unfathomed swarthy night. The fleece clouds throbbed and sobbed with the pressure of the earth's cumulative tears, tears wrought from the sorry hands of her greenery. And it was many a night as such that I often heard a heavy tapping on my windows, the greeting of the gustful winds. Lo, the doors shook and the walls would quake as the storms waged their wars. Such a common occurrence it was that never before had I even batted an eye. But there was something that drew me from my place inside on that unfathomed, swarthy night. As I stepped from my home onto well-shorn grass, moisture and the ironic comfort of warmth greeting my face, I sensed it immediately. The eerie presence, scent of death, and I breathed it all in. In retrospect, I am able to note that upon this breath, this inhale, this exhale, my ever-present worries seem to disperse. Like breathing in an aroma from a time past at ease was my heart. And yet this ambivalence vexed me, for when taking in my circumstances, the storms tapping the grey sky and drizzling rains of this unfathomed swirly night, calm was the last emotion my surroundings should be inflicting onto me. My surroundings! Alas, my mind reawoke, and as thunder rumbled and lightning struck and my clothes were tugged by the air, I knew that I should be inside, safe under my roof, and not the roof of the summer storm still. My feet did not move. Rather, I raised my head in prayer to nature's destructive beauty, followed by the raising of my ears to hearken to her response. The only thing present were the harsh and fateful winds. I watch as the reaching, greedy hands of the trees in the distance dance in the gusts, thrown by the wrath of thy great storms, as if their spires of bark grew in defiance of the wind herself. Breathing this bittersweet air, I could not help but feel as if I too did not belong, a pinnacle of wrongful existence in this world that belonged to the sky. My speculation was once more interrupted, my mind once again reawoke by a tremulous sound, an occurrence, might I add, that seemed to keep happening to an ad nauseam degree on this unfathomed swarthy night. But a tremulous sound that was not the tapping of the wind, nor was it the drums of thunder. Rather, this sound came with a singular pop and an echo, a mechanical stiffness that I recognized from prior observance as the workings of a weapon. A gun being shot somewhere in the valley by assumedly a hunter, a neighbor, a person of some kind, being shot in the rain, in the storm, interrupting my odd speculative thoughts, interrupting the nature and the winds and the rains and my own fatalistic immersion as I let the water stream in runnels down my skin. The drizzle had ceased. Huge sheets of water fell from the clouds now. I noted this with passing disinterest. The origin of the gunshot was perplexing, stunning, indeed, as not another soul lived in the humid valley, a valley barren from wildlife and from the dreadful plague of humanity. My mind continued to think. The thoughts became their own. Soon they were not belonging to the question of who held the acclaimed weapon and for what they were aiming. Another echoing boom, louder this time, or perhaps just closer, but rather my thoughts grew, disregarded the gun that did not belong in the valley. A valley ruled by nature, gifted by the heavens, and these independent thoughts in my mind accepted the mysterious disturbance as a working part in what I felt was an impending conclusion to it all. A part of the death I had felt the moment I stepped from my home and into the stormy warmth of the night. The very intuitive sense that drew me tempted me in the first place. Another mechanical pop of the distant machine. It ravaged my ears. I was aware that I had known that there was something so culminating, so terminal, about this unfathomed swarthy night the minute I answered the tapping on my windows, as if it were to be the last time I heard it. And yet despite this awareness I was not anxious. I was not disturbed. I embraced the finality, and once more to the skies my head turned. Pop. I did not process this sound. Now standing, clothes soaked with water, and a calm ambiguity sitting in my heart, and my mind emptier than it has been in years, I feel so strongly as the storm rages around me, and the gun shoots unknowingly that this is my end. The end. I breathe in. I breathe in the atmosphere and grim aura, and for some reason I smile. Everything around me screams death, whispers to me that my livelihood is no more, and that these few minutes are the last ones I will see, and yet I smile. Incomprehensible was the reason for this, unfathomable, even. My mind is both alive and asleep at the same time, unable to point exactly why this is the end. In the background of my thinking, I hear another gunshot from Death's hesitant firearm, his scope closing in, but also unable to deny that it is so. It is rather a feeling, a thinking that birthed this truth, and I followed it without remorse. The smile remains with me, and vitality swarms my soul. Vitality, vitality, and joy, as I feel that there is something so telling in these final moments. Something so absolute. The rain soothes my skin, and as the vitality surges, I spin around, arms outstretched and with the intoxicatingly familiar aroma of the sky's tears filling my senses. I search for feelings of sorrow. I find none. For it is not sadness that covets my heart in these calmly fleeting seconds of life, but rather a renewed feeling of childlike innocence and happiness. Things so distantly felt that I wholeheartedly believed it impossible to regain, still it continues to rain. In spite of all, there these feelings are, filling a void in my desolate chest of which has been an untimely absence of existence. An absence whence came from years prior, since my childhood was long gone, since reality has stolen my innocence and bliss, joyfully renewed are these lost emotions I miss. A giggle, a youthful, anomalous sound, akin to that of a version of myself that I now only know through family pictures and key memories. A version of myself that wore her bright blonde hair, pulled back every day, and smiled with no shame and talked with no insecurity. A giggle from this part of who I was escapes my mouth. It evolves into true, irrevocably melodic laughter, and I run my fingers across my face slick with water. Oh, how nice it feels, and how unbothered I am by the overwhelming sense of the end that is apparent. Like an instinct that one cannot explain, I know that it is my time, my end. My heart savors these last sweet tastes of youth. I think how lucky I am, luckier than most, to feel it one last time, staring into the face of death, hearkening to his cacophony of bullets, the long-lost childhood joy manifests. Oh, how many years I have wasted with stress and growing up and worries, and why I cannot stress this enough, with more than anything, thinking and thinking and thinking. I could not stand to think no longer. Rather, I reveled in my circumstances. Alone, rain-soaked, dancing, recalling, grinning like a blissfully ignorant child, I laughed once more. I accepted this end. I accepted this end as my laugh was cut off by another thunderous boom of a machine my young mind, who, might I add, no longer felt the need for thought, could not recognize, echoed peacefully throughout the lifeless and serene valley. A flash of light in my vision, and all went quiet. The rain continued to fall. I fell with